All right, here we are. We got Ranger back, and Ranger, you figured out how to use your mic this time. It looks like.
I figured that I hate Microsoft, so every time I get an update, it resets my OBS, it resets my Discord, it resets all my sound. Because everyone's saying, "God,
you're just too much of a boomer, man. You're too much of a boomer."
Well, just learn how to push these buttons here, and see what happens.
All right, we're going to talk about GLs today, everyone. This is going to be a pretty fun conversation with Kenobi in the mix now. I think there's a lot of discussion on prioritization of GL farming, which is probably one of the most important discussions in this game because it's such a long grind, especially for you new players. And so we're really going to be focusing kind of on that new player crowd. If you already have a GL or two, you can join the conversation as well and just kind of figure out who you want to go for next based on the criteria we're talking here. But yeah, pretty big conversation, isn't it, Ranger?
It's an important conversation. Everybody's in different levels. Maybe you have your newer player. Maybe you're a player that's been playing for a while and haven't gone for that GL yet. Which route do you go, right? You want to make good decisions, especially if you're free to play, because you have so many finite resources that you're able to acquire.
Right.
And then committing to that is a big commitment. So, which GL can you go for can make or break you. And it's important to know because we've seen so many rosters where people have farmed stuff that they regret, that they're like, I can't believe I worked on Cup. I wish I had taught you beforehand.
Why did I do this? Why? All right. So here's the criteria we're going to be considering here, because it's not a simple conversation, guys. It's not as simple as farm this character, then this character, then this character, then this character. Although we do kind of have a unanimous agreement on who we think the first farm should be for everyone. But we're going to consider three major factors on your GL farming. Number one is how good the GL is in general. Obviously, we want to have the best GLs possible out the gate. They're all pretty dang good, but some are better than others. The second consideration is how long is this farm going to take, especially for new players. You don't want to wait for 3 years to have your first GL. I'm guessing some of the farms are a lot longer. Some of the farms are relatively shorter. And then finally, and I think one of the more underrated considerations is what characters do you get along the way? This is way more important for new players because you don't want to just farm a GL and congratulations, you got a GL and nothing else to show for it. And that's going to be very important and why we've ranked one character a bit lower on the list. So with that, let's get to our first priority. This is unanimous number one, SLKR. By far the best first farm. He checks all the boxes. He's not a super long farm, relatively speaking. Kylo Ren unmasked. I mean, look at all of the non-legendary characters in here. All these characters you're able to get pretty well on your own. Palpatine, the only legendary featured, and he's one of the easiest legendaries for new players to get. So not that long. Kylo Ren is arguably the best GL in the game. Kenobi might be threatening that, but for now still looks to be at least the second best GL in the game. And wouldn't you know it, but you get a lot of teams along the way. And most importantly, you farm the team that you use with Kylo along the way as well. Unanimous number one.
Plus his ships, finalizer, once you get it up and running. Yep. First Order team is a really good offensive team, and you get a couple teams out of this. So, especially in threes, you can mix it up. With Kylo, you can run with, SLKR, you can run with a few teams. You can go with the Hux, Red Lobster, Sith Trooper with the First Order Stormtrooper. That's a really good team on threes. It gives you some other options in threes, or you can go two teams in fives, with Hux being a team along with crew and the rest, and then Kylo running with another team. So he's great in raids. He's great in Darkside TB. He's phenomenal in GAC. We know what he can do on defense. He can be a pain in the butt. We also know what he can do on offense. Can take out pretty much most GLs. He has a little problem with Jedi Master Luke, but I mean, he's still pretty good. I mean, it's a coin flip with Luke. A lot of times you can get caught with that, but easily handles Rey, easily handles Palpatine, C. So yeah, he's really good. And that raid, the damage he does in raids and the points you get from that, especially in Heroic Sith, I mean, that's where you get your gear. It's hard to get in the top 10 if you're competing, but I mean, if you're still in the tops, you're still getting some good stuff. You're getting that gear that you need. Helps you in Conquest. Really good character for Conquest and challenges and things of that nature. So it's hard to answer against SLKR. He's just so good. There's so much good quality stuff that comes from getting him and his teams.
Yep, I don't think it's really close. So Kylo, Number one. Now, number two, we're going to get some backlash for this because this one does not check one of the boxes. In fact, this might be arguably the longest GL farm. But for a new player, we feel like number two is arguably Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Now, hear us out. I can already hear you guys throwing your phones, saying mean things to both me and Ranger for saying this. But here is one of the biggest problems we see with some of the newer players out there in this game, is you blitz for those end game characters, and you neglect to farm some of the more important characters along the way to have a balanced roster. Once you have Kylo Ren, what if you don't have your CLS yet? What if you don't have JTR yet? All of these characters are important for building a balanced roster. You go for Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, and you farm it's the most bang for buck farm you can have. Even though it's the longest, you get some of the most valuable characters in this game. How can you dispute how valuable Han and Chewie are? Rey Jedi Training, great. R2-D2, C-3PO, Old Ben even, and you've got a lot of use out of some of the other characters there, including Hermit Yoda and Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, of course, who has a big farm of his own, which includes CLS, Wampa, and other characters. And so even though this is a very long, harder farm, and you may ditch it because of how long it is, once you're there, it will benefit you tremendously to have gone on this journey second.
It leads to so many good teams. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And you're getting Jedi Knight Luke, which is a counter to Slacker. We always talk about if you're going to get GLs, the thing you should do is GL, then counter. With Jedi Master Luke, you kind of get both in the second term. Yeah. So you got your Kylo, you're getting all that good gear, which you can use towards this team. But Han and Chewie with somebody, you can put them with CLS, but so good in so many areas. 3PO, in threes, for example, CLS, 3PO is good. Han and Chewie, you can run with a Scoundrel Leader or Wedge Leader. It's really good. JTR is a counter to CLS team on defense. Jedi Knight Luke is Jedi Knight Luke. I use him all the time as my slacker counter. And Old Ben's a part of that. I mean, there's a couple characters in there, Leia and Lando, that's like, they are what they are. You can put them in a backline team just to hold the space, but it's a longer term farm, and so it's like thinking CLS, the squad is really good. Jedi Knight Luke squad is really good. You have to add a couple other characters that are part of this farm, but you can work on them because Old Ben is a part of that counter. But R2-D2, amazing. Hermit Yoda is amazing. Jedi Master Luke is not the best. Obviously not one of the best. I think he's really good. I use him all the time against Ray teams or Slacker teams, and I have no diff beating them, whether it's threes or fives with the Jedi I have.
He basically only struggles against Sith Eternal. That's it. There's so many other options for Sith Eternal outside of GLs that I think it's a wash. So he's really, really valuable on offense, in my opinion.
Yeah. And JTR is part of that farm too, Relic 7, I think. And so that's a really good team. Just work on your BB-8. You got a 3-team right there. JTR, BB-8, R2 easily can handle the CLS counter with 3PO and 2PO. So just so many good things here. I mean, so many good teams, so many good characters that come out of the Jedi Master Luke. And I'm going to say Jedi Knight Luke farm because you're going to do both at the same time, really. Yeah. It really will help your roster out tremendously. You've got your dark side GL with Slacker and the really good teams out of there. Now you got your Jedi Master Luke with your Jedi Knight Luke and all the characters that come from it. It's hard to argue how much good stuff comes out of this farm. Yep,
absolutely. And something that we forget about is that's even going to include a Relic Vader. As part of that with that Luke event too, and that's gonna open the door to, you've already got your Palpatine if you went for your SLKR, so you can have a great Empire team there as well. It's not just helping you with light side teams. So again, you might hate us for the recommendation because of how long that farm is from a new player's perspective. But if you do bite that bullet at the end of that round of farming, you will be in a great place. Now, if you're not that patient, next up, we've got Kenobi on the list. Kenobi is proving himself to be an outstanding GL, maybe the best GL in the game. When you're going against the ideal compositions, his defense seems to be pretty good. Ranger, I know you've got opinions on that. Some of the videos out there maybe not showing the ideal comps, but checking off the box in terms of how long the farm is, much shorter farm comparatively to Luke. Negotiator, if you're in a decent guild, shouldn't be hard to get to 6 stars. Kenobi, he's very manageable with the raid. Mace Windu, Ayla, Bo-Katan. These are just normal farms, no legendary characters. Wat Tambor, you're going to need to be in a good guild. Cad Bane, Cody, Jango Fett, Shakti, and Grandmaster Yoda, one of the first Jedi, or one of the first legendary events you're going to have. The only real kicker here that might bump this out of the equation is if you're in a good enough guild. And that's part of why we have him at 3rd, because once you have Kylo and Jedi Master Luke, if you then move on to Kenobi, odds are that you've got enough of a built-out roster that you can be in a guild that will provide the resources necessary for Wat Tambor and Relic 8 materials.
Yeah, there's some, again, there's some easy farms in this one. Yeah. I mean, they were really nice. I mean, they're just standard farms. There's a couple of long-term ones that you have to do raids with and stuff like, GK and things like that. But, it's a longer term process. Again, this is what we think is 3rd. Again, when we do all these, what we think the order is, you may have a different opinion. There's no wrong answer.
Our opinion is objective.
It's totally.
This is the only way. Just
we're not subjective here. Forget that nonsense. But no, I think Jedi Master Kenobi is super amazing. I mean, I've got him Relic 8, and even with Alta Ultimate, he has been silly, just silliness. Yeah, when he doesn't have the ultimate, he's easy to be countered, but I'm seeing a lot of high-end people that I talk with that have Jedi Master Kenobi. It is just brutal. That dude is absolutely brutal. If you have the right characters go along with it. We also have Kat coming. She's going to be dynamite for that team, I think, and just a really badass character. It's a longer-term farm. A lot of the stuff's easy to get, but a lot of the stuff is not. And we're still going to play around with him in the raid and see where he does. I've seen some good stuff out of the raid, especially using him in phase 4 of the Sea Pit. There's been some good results, but they're still trying to tweak the team and what you're going to use. We don't have Cat again to see what the damage could be maximized. So, it's a really good character. There's some decent stuff that comes out of it. I think Ayla's underrated. She's a really good Jedi.
She is underrated.
The team. She is so good, man. I've seen people use Jedi. I saw some. Was it Loki or it was Meow Meow that used? Or no, Jedi Master Dasher. One of her teams is Qui-Gon, Barriss, and Ayla. Oh my God, that team destroyed. I was shocked. I was like, I had no idea. But yeah, Ayla is really good. Mace has got a ship, so you get at least that out of it. He's not the best character, but Magna Guard, all those, the Separatists, Watt, that is a longer farm. You have to do Dark Side TB. It's going to be dependent if you're in the guild to get GK and Watt and some of these characters. So long-term goal, but you stay focused on it. You can focus on some other things, but yeah, I think Jedi Master Kenobi is dynamite.
He is, and I'm showing Commander Sokotano, also known as Cat, on the screen. I have succumbed, by the way. I didn't like the Cat acronym. I'm conceding. CG said that's the acronym. I'm
into your anger.
I'm giving in to my hatred of the acronym. And I'm using it. I can't beat them, so I'm joining them. And she's going to totally change, I think, the viability of Kenobi. He already has tremendous amount of viability.
Yeah.
So number 4, in our opinion, is Sith Eternal. And Sith Eternal is going to be probably, for most people, the most tempting GL to go after first. Let us tell you why we think you should wait. The temptation, of course, is the prereqs. Palpatine, obviously, Relic 7, not too difficult. Vader, Royal Guard, Piet, Krennic, Darth Sidious, Maul, Dooku, Marauder, Bomber, Anakin, Thrawn, Tarkin, Veers, and Stark. There's not a lot of difficult characters to reach in there. No Relic 8, of course, to consider either. The problem with Sith Eternal, in our opinion, is for a new player, you don't walk away with a team here. You do get troopers, which are great for offense. You don't get all the troopers. You get some of them. You get pieces of teams. You get a couple Empire characters. You get an Anakin. But by and large, you get a lot of characters that are pretty mediocre. Tarkin, not a ton of... You can find niche use for him, but not a ton of use. Marauder, you can find some niche use, but do you have Vader and Malik to put with him at this point? Dooku, kind of the same thing. Do you have everything else to go with him? Maul, Sidious, Krennic, Royal Guard, not a lot there. And so comparatively, like, there is some value in this farm, but comparatively to the others, just a lot less value along the way. So it may be short, but the farm value is just so low that for a new player, I think that you arguably hurt yourself more with what you farm than you could if you went for other GLs first.
Yeah, what's really good about Palpatine is really good. I mean, the characters that are really good are super good. The characters that suck really suck, in my opinion. Vader's a monster. You know, Palpatine's really good. The Palpatine Vader. And you also work on Thrawn, which is a dynamite character.
Thing is, too, though, you farm Palpatine for SLKR too, so you get him another way.
Yeah, Tarkin's good because of his ship, so that's actually really good. Veer's Stark. I mean, that goes out saying Piet. They're really good for the trooper team. You add Gideon and Dark Trooper, or range, and then you've got another team there. But some of this other stuff is, oh lordy. I mean, Krennic.
Yeah, why is Krennic? Why is he a thing?
Yeah.
Why does he exist?
Yeah. I just, I wish he was better, but he's not. No. Dooku's got his uses. I actually use him pretty well. There's, as I said, there's some good stuff here.
Dooku's great with a good separatist team. Very good.
Yeah. See, if you have the mods to make him and mod him the right way, is really good. We know what he can do on offense. However, that's changing because people have realized the counter to C. I use it all the time in 5s. I put JTR on. It gives people nightmares because my GL Ray is all offense, and I boost her up so she hits hard. And in 3 is the same way. It makes your C, if he's not 180,000 plus health, which I see a lot of times people are not doing, he's going to get one shot. I've seen it time and time again, not just in my GAC, but other GACs. Where it's like, I don't understand. Why did my Palpatine lose? Oh, Palpatine Watt's great. He's a fantastic GL. On offense, there's none other. You can use him against pretty much anybody and win, right?
Yeah.
Smokes, General Master Luke.
And he's got a tremendous amount of solo value. There's a lot of characters out there he can solo.
Yeah, a lot of points you can get out of that if you got him modded right. So the offense part of him is fantastic. Okay, and Darkside TB does what he does. Raids, non-existent really. You don't hear a lot about Palpatine in the raids and stuff like that. So mainly he is a offense GAC player. He's great in Arena 2. I can't undersell that he's an easy climb. And as a free-to-play, you get C, you can climb an arena all day because you can pretty much beat most things. Kylo will give you a little bit of fits because Kylo is a hard counter to him, but you're not farming a defensive character here. No,
placing Sith Eternal on defense is a mistake in almost every case, in my opinion.
Yeah,
unless you're in the very early game and people are struggling with their counters.
Right.
So,
but if someone's got Trooper team with Dark Trooper, you're host. I mean, even Troopers without Dark Trooper was beating it.
Oh, I've done it. I've done it without Dark Trooper on my account. So.
Yeah.
All right, obviously that leaves Rey for last. Now, let me get this out of the way. Rey is arguably the best defensive character in this game in 3v3 Grand Arena and maybe even 5v5 Grand Arena. And so when we're talking about these 5 GLs, we're talking about 5 outstanding characters. We're just trying to help you guys prioritize here. And similar to how we feel about Sith Eternal, there's not a ton of value in the Rey farm outside of the team that you farm for Rey. So you're going to get, obviously, the handbag bros, Resistance Hero Finn and Resistance Hero Poe, both very usable. But you're also going to farm characters like Resistance Pilot. You're going to farm, let's see here, OG Finn has use now, Resistance Pilot, Haldo, some use, you got some use. Rose Tico, she's Rancor food, nothing else. BB-8's great. Vet Smuggler Chewie has used the Radis. It's nice to have. It's nice to have. Really not a whole lot of value here. I do feel like when you get to the end of your farm, if you follow the path that we've recommended, you've got Kylo, JML, and Kenobi, there's probably a pretty thin line between who you would go for between Sith Eternal and Rey. What's your take on this one, Ranger?
I love Rey. She was the first GL I got. I think she's dynamite. But the farm, I mean, the Kyrtex you need for that is ridiculous. Holy moly. It's a lot of Kyrtex. So you're going to be farming a buttload of those. What's really good about Rey is really good. As a character, as we already said, GL defense, GAC, she's ridiculously good.
She's maybe the best.
I mean, she can give people nightmares, and then we see it all the time. Like, well, I ran into a Ray, and that was all she wrote. The other teams, JTR is superb. The Purse brothers, with we see it in threes all the time. The two Finns and Poe, amazing. Some of those other characters too, like Resistance Trooper, solid. Stick Ray is solid. You got to make sure her accuracy is good. Resistance Pilot now with the Holdo fleet and Holdo herself. Holdo's a really good tank. And her capital ship on defense is really good. So I mean, yeah, it's really good. It's a long-term farm. There's a lot of gear requirements for this. It's really rough. But I think, she's not very good in raids. So I just throw that out there. She's really
Shouldn't
good.
Shouldn't Ray be good in raids?
No, she's not. She's just, oh boy.
I'm such a dad.
The puns are strong. But and then Lightside TB, she's solid. You get to phase 3 and 4, it can get wonky, but there's a lot of positive. I guess it's just it's a long-term farm. But I mean, you get some of the characters from you're going to have some of them done because you can see R2 and 3PO and JTR are part of the Luke requirements that we saw earlier. So a little bit of crossover there. So it's
a lot of garbage here too.
But there's some stuff in there, that's just you're just not going to use. I don't use the vets. I don't use Poe. I don't use. I mean, as you said, Rose Tico, C-Pit.
I will be honest, and again, we have her last, but I'm admitting right now, all 5 of these characters are great. There is part of me that really wishes I just had her because her value on defense is unquestionable. She is amazing. So good on defense, and there are so few teams that will beat her with high banners. Like if you're able to beat her, good luck doing it with more than without losing at least 1 banner per character, at least. Probably more. A lot of times you're going to lose everybody but SLKR if that's who you're taking against her. Sith Eternal, if you're saving him, you're probably going to take in Wat Tambor for a little bit of security. You're going to lose Wat. You're going to lose banners going against Rey unless you've got a Sith Eternal that's confident enough to just solo, which I think is too risky. So there's a lot of value to Rey on defense. And so if you do decide to go for her early, you're probably not going to be screwing yourself over. I would wait at least personally until you have Kylo and JML. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
I mean, and as I said, all these characters that we've been discussing, there's no right or wrong answer.
Just farm them all.
SLKR is number 1, but then after that, like if someone said, I want SLKR and then C, I'm not going to hate you, because like, hey, you go, when you got to play the game the way you enjoy it, maybe as a character you really enjoy, those are factors as well. I mean, you got to go with what you enjoy playing and what you want to work on. If you went C, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you went for Rey right after SLKR, I wouldn't be mad at you.
You wouldn't be mad at him anyway. You're just such a nice guy.
I try to be. I can be mean. Don't get me wrong.
Well, you hate me, but you're good with everyone else.
Right. Everyone else is equally awesome except Cubs. But yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. This is just an idea. This gives you a starting point. When you watch this video, it gives you an idea. Use your critical thinking skills. Think about it from your perspective, how much you spend or don't spend. What do you think works for you and how you want to play and what you want to work on. The other thing that we're not talking about is, working on a GL, working on a counter, working on a GL, working on the counter. There's too many times we've seen in rosters where they have 2 or 3 GLs, they have nothing else, and they're kind of stuck because they get stuck with people with 2 GLs.
And that's what's nice about farming JML next is you're farming counters along the way.
That's why I like that too. You get CLS, which is awesome count. You can even use it against JML if they go Bastily. That's such an awesome counter to that. Jedi Luke, Oben, Hermit Yoda, Bastila, and Jedi
Vader.
Just
Vader's part of that counter. Indirectly.
Vader. If you go for Palpatine, you're going to have the Vader counter. Now you got to work on some other characters. Yep. He's a GL killer. So there are the counters that you can work on, and if you're not sure, just ask. Don't be afraid to ask the community, like what some of the counters or watch.
That's a great chance to plug where they can ask. Come to my Twitch streams every single day. Monday through Friday in the morning, and Ranger, you've got streams too, don't you?
I stream so much, it's ridiculous.
Ranger has an unhealthy obsession with streaming.
I do. I'm going to be doing it late tonight. We got GAC. I got to keep the winning streak alive, and we're doing it with Loki. And if you've not seen one of Loki's GACs, that's the heavyweight fights. Oh, God. It is unbelievable, the teams and mods you see on that.
They are
9 million GP plus. So yeah, it's silliness.
That's gross.
He's only running a 590 speed Jedi Master Kenobi right now, so no biggie. That's no.
Yeah, these are the heavyweights, the 100,000 plus accounts dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been some moolah spent.
All right, everyone, let us know how you guys feel about this, and we would really appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Be sure to check out Ranger and everything he's got going on. Thanks, as always, Ranger. I love having you on the channel. Your wealth of knowledge is really helpful for the fam, and so we appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me, man. I'm always hanging out. Even if I'm not even saying something, usually I'm like busy, so I'm always watching your shows. I just have usually in the background. So I'm usually running around with my head cut off because I've got my own stuff to do. So I'll be working on videos like yesterday I was watching. I'm like, I got to do my GA Center report. So I'm just in here,
Nice.
I'm working on that.
You're just a little bit involved in the Galaxy Heroes community, I would say. Just a little bit. And I love this community. I mean, recently what we did for Mini and stuff. I mean, good Lord, 25,000 raised. It was unbelievable how we all just came together and put ego aside, put all that aside. We were just like, what can we do? How can we help? What can be done? And this is what makes this community great, and how giving and kind the community is. You guys are phenomenal. Not just the Cubs fan, but everybody in the Swoga community is just amazing in my book. So outstanding salute to all you guys. Could not agree with you more. Thank you very much for saying that, Ranger. Yep, it was really cool to see. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining. As always, my brothers, don't forget.